Keith and Linda are at St. Joe's, where Keith has hurt his knee, and Shannon and Trudy are there with him. And I talked to Vic Rossi last night. They're on their way home today. They'll probably get in late tonight. I'm going to try to do it one day.
And Nellie and Betty are still
in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Any other announcements we need to be aware of?
I think we have class 2 leaders this Sunday.
Right.
That affects just me, I guess, right now.
Give yourself a birthday.
Yes. We do have the Fall Festival coming up in 3 Sundays, on October the 11th.
Roseanne wants us to bring bags of candy. We want to make sure we keep the kids calm.
Well, none of them go home with us, so.
Just word of warning, don't bring them until the festival, because chances are they won't make it till then if you bring them for back.
I think you can bring them early. Roseanne will probably hide it somewhere.
Okay.
Take another.
Any other announcements from anyone? Anything we should be aware of? Hey then. Book of Matthew. Well, before I start with that, I'd like to thank the elders for the opportunity to start off this discussion. I think we have 6 different people doing this throughout the book. Okay. So yes, Matthew. So before I get into the first chapter, I had this idea that it would be good to find a book about Matthew to get some more extra research and ideas. And so I went to the library and found one, and I figured, okay, I'll read the introduction to the book, and then I'll go through the first chapter with its notes and stuff and commentary. Well, it turned out that the introduction was yay long. Suffice to say, I saw a lot of reading to do. But here's some things I can tell about Matthew. And if any of my information here is wrong, because some of it is disputable, because pretty much there's a lot of different ideas floating around about how the book came about, feel free to correct me. The main theme of the book is pretty much to show how Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament prophecies in terms of being the Messiah, the King, etc. The book was written to the Jews, which is, I think, fairly evident considering how much attached to the Old Testament it is. It references the Old Testament at least 50 times throughout the book. Matthew is most likely also known as Levi, was a tax collector, and also one of the sons of Alphaeus. He's also one of the apostles. The book was written, I've seen everything from AD 50 to AD 100 to beyond that. I believe everything was written pre-AD 70, so I'm going to place it between about AD 55 to AD 60, per se. I couldn't really find anything definite outside of there.
Why do you think it was written before AD 70?
Well, it doesn't say anything about the temple actually being destroyed by the Romans. It says it will be destroyed. Not by who, but it says that, all these bricks will not be, not one brick will be on top of the other.
And that's a valid point all by itself. I mean, it doesn't look back on it.
No, it doesn't look back on it. And if it had happened, by the time Matthew wrote it, he probably would have found a way to fit it in there, considering that would be tearing down the entire system, the entire Jewish system.
Yeah, John A.T. Robinson makes the point that there's no way you could write shortly thereafter and not comment on it. It would be insane for a Jew to not say our temple is gone. It would be like somebody shortly after World War II of Jewish belief not even acknowledging the Holocaust. Because that was a great, devastating event in the life of Jewish people. And so there's just no way it could have been written.
And another reason then, because what Jesus had said would happen before AD 70, then Matthew had to have been written before that. And I believe all of the books in the New Testament were written before AD 70 as well. Now, there's some controversy if Matthew was inspired by Mark's gospel or the other way around. Some people say Matthew was written before Mark, others say Mark was written before Matthew's. And on top of that, there is some contention out there with no legitimate or substantial proof that I can find that Mark or Matthew or Luke or all three based their finding stuff off the what's called the Gospel of Q. Not the Q from James Bond, but Q as in well for German with for source. But there's really no substantial proof of such a source existing where Mark would have got his information, or Matthew got his information from. Oh, and another reason for Matthew being written pre-AD 70 is I do not see why an apostle or someone else would have waited 60, 70, 80-something years after Jesus to write down what they had seen and heard, being around him, as some people posit.
And then there's
a lot of them also don't really claim Matthew to be the apostle either, though, at the same time with that.
And there's maybe a broader principle, too, that the Holy Spirit was given for the last days. And if it's the last days of Judaism, which we certainly think it is, then after the fall of Jerusalem, inspiration ceased. It was to be given throughout the last days, but there's no indication that it would extend beyond that. So if it's written by somebody after AD 70, it's not inspired. It's my opinion.
Mine too. So, one further thing before we get into the actual book. I've read 3 different languages. Supposedly the book was written in. I'm not sure if one or multiple ones, but I've heard that it was written in Hebrew, I've heard that it was written in Greek, and I've heard that it was written in Aramaic. I will leave that to someone that is far more knowledgeable in this area than me. Okay. So, Matthew 1:1. And yes, we are going through this genealogy. I'm not skipping it. Because it is vital to connect, to show the Jews at the time, and to show us as well here, that Jesus was and is the Messiah, and that He is the one that that God said, hey, I'm going to start dating back to Abraham, even before that, where God said, I'm going to send someone, and He is going to make things, He's going to save you. And this genealogy, in part, helps prove that. Now, genealogies can be a bit tricky, and this one is a bit tricky in some ways because it focuses on the kings, because it wants to connect with Jesus being a king and being fulfillment, that doesn't list the actual biological father per se for certain generations. For example, we'll see Solomon mentioned, but then when we're in Luke's in chapter Luke 3:31, this Nathan, where Solomon is that genealogically in Matthew. So David apparently had a son named Nathan at some point, which makes sense possibly considering faith in the prophets. Or I'm just guessing now, but I hope not. So, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. 3 names from the Old Testament that gets any Jewish person's attention. Moses, David, and Abraham. Now, David was the second king of Israel, followed after Saul. And with the exception of probably of Josiah, probably the most faithful one that we probably got this whole part. Except as it says in the manner of Uriah the Hittite and his wife.
You notice it's interesting with this genealogy that Matthew starts it with Abraham rather than going clear back to Adam.
Well, Luke goes backwards. He goes from Joseph to, and then he ends with Adam. But yeah, you're right. And he starts with Abraham. And who knows why he starts with Abraham?
Father of the Jewish nation.
Okay. God told Abraham, I'm going to make a nation out of you, and he did. So, verse 2. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judah and his brothers. Now, was Judah Joseph's I mean, Jacob's chosen child to go on for the lineage. No. But God chose Judah instead.
Was Judah the oldest?
No, Reuben was the oldest. And I mean, none of Jacob's sons were perfect, you know. We could spend, you know, a whole session on what the hell, the 2 or 3 chapters about the Genesis and what they did. But no, but interestingly enough, and I don't remember the exact verse where it says that Judah overcame Joseph. It doesn't say that exactly, but it does. But in Jacob's blessing, his deathbed blessing to his children, in Genesis 49:10, we see a glimpse already that Judah is going to supplant Joseph as the chosen tribe. Now, for a reference, sometimes you might, if you see the word, if you hear Ephraim mentioned, that later on in the Old Testament, that refers to all of Israel, except for Judah and Benjamin after the divided kingdom. So in that way, the chosen, because Jacob blessed Ephraim instead of Manasseh. Was Manasseh? Yes. Even though Ephraim was the younger one there. So that title does carry on later on. If I'm confusing anyone, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of names thrown out here.
I find it interesting why this it says Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers, which gives you the indication that he didn't say that the lineage came down to Judah.
Oh yeah. Well, and in Genesis 49:10, when Jacob's on, I keep calling him just when Jacob/Israel is on his deathbed, and he blesses, or in some ways almost curses some of his children, because some of he doesn't have anything good to say about them. But in 49:10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. That's pretty clear. I think that's, just looking back, I think it's pretty clear there that there's something going to be important coming from the line of Judah. I mean, line of Judah, I think, well, no. So, go on here, verses 3 through 6. Judah begot Perez and Zerah by Tamar. We won't get into that history. You can put that up yourself. Perez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram. Ram begot Aminadab, and Aminadab begot Nashon, Nashon begot Sam. Sam begot Boaz by Rahab. Not the heart. Boaz begot Obed by Ruth. Obed begot Jesse. This genealogy can be found in Ruth 4 if anyone's interested in looking at it elsewhere. Okay. Verse 6. And Jesse begot David the king. David the king begot Solomon by her who had been the wife of Uriah. We won't get into that at this time.
So you're saying the lineage of Jesus included a harlot?
If that's the same Rahab. I don't know for sure if it is. The thought just hit me when I was reading it.
I believe it was.
Okay. It's possible. It's possible. Okay. So 7 through 11 then. And just to warn you, we've got a lot of verses we're going to be looking at pretty soon in the Old Testament. But Solomon begot Rehoboam. Rehoboam begot Abijah, and Abijah begot Asa. Asa begot Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat begot Joram, and Joram begot Uzziah. Uzziah begot Jotham. Jotham begot Ahaz, and Ahaz begot Hezekiah. Hezekiah begot Manasseh. Manasseh begot Amon, and Amon begot Josiah. Josiah begot Jeconiah and his brothers about the time they were carried away to Babylon. Now, some translations, and even within the same translation, you might have a slightly different name for some of these people. Like Jotham might be Joram, or Uzziah might just be Uzziah, but I mean Ahaziah. So there's a lot of very similar names here. And we're going to take a brief look at each of these kings in here. And don't worry, I already have the verses written down, so. Because I think it's important to note how something that started out strong with David fell into utter collapse within about 13, 15, say, generations, because not every king, there were more kings of Judah than just the ones listed here, but they weren't part of the direct lineage. But And this falling of the kingdom here that's set about is important because when it falls and then, okay, so you have the king, you have Jerusalem, okay, so you have Jerusalem, you have Israel. It splits in two at some point. And then both are carried off into captivity. Israel by the Assyrians and Judah later on and by Babylon. The Judah segment is in captivity for 70 years and then is glad to return to Jerusalem, where on and off they managed to rebuild the walls of the temple. And then around, I'd say, was it probably around 80, 70 or 60 around when Julius Caesar came in? Heard about that earlier. Okay. Well, anyways, Julius Caesar walks into Jerusalem. They help him out, and then they're on the road. Which is okay for them under Julius Caesar because he's their friend. And they're friends somewhat with Rome, but that gets more tenuous as things go on. So by the time Jesus is born, they've gone from being captive to, well, they start out captive actually to Egypt. Even way before that, and then captive to Assyria and Babylon, then to Rome, and captive to sin this whole time. But it's important to see how everything is just kind of falls where it does by the time Jesus comes. So, let's see, how do I want to divide this up? Okay. This is a brief overview in a few verses of the Kings. And so let's see. Burdette, can you please look up 1 Kings 14, 21 through 22? And let's see. Dawn, can you please look up 1 Kings 15, 1 through 5? 1 Kings 15, 1 through 5. Who here has a Bible? Like, you are 1 Kings 14, 21 to 22. Well, I'm not going to call all 13 of these out at the same time because that's just going to cost pain in the mind, so we'll just take them a couple at a time. Yes, there's 13 kings listed here. I count it. And I will start off with, we're not going to go into Saul or David, but because things are pretty even in some way there with a whole kingdom, even though Saul gets it ripped out of his hand. So I'm going to start us off here with 1 Kings 11, 1 through 13. But King Solomon loved many foreign women, as well as the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites, from the nations of whom the Lord had said to the children of Israel, "You shall not intermarry with them, nor they with you. Surely they will turn away your hearts after their gods." Solomon clung to these in love. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it was so, when Solomon was told that his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and did not fully follow the Lord, as did his father David. Then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, on the hill that is east of Jerusalem, and for Moloch, the abomination of the people of Ammon. And he did likewise for all his foreign wives who burned incense and sacrifice to their gods. So the Lord became angry with Solomon, because his heart had turned away from the Lord God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he did not keep what the Lord had commanded. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, "Because you have done this and have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded you, I will surely tear the kingdom away from you and give it to your servant. Nevertheless, I will not do it in your days for the sake of your father David. I will tear it out of the hand of your son. However, I will not tear away the whole kingdom. I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen." If there's one thing that we see common throughout the Old Testament, starting from the golden calf, where everything is the sin of idolatry, it is rampant throughout the Old Testament, where someone gets bored or just decides they don't trust God, or for whatever reason, because who they marry, or they just go, "I'm going to make a statue of this foreign god, or this. And sometimes I influence, I'm going to kill my children after they're born to sacrifice to these gods too, to appease them. So, Solomon, who has all the wisdom in the world, falls into idolatry of all things.
Stephen, don't you think of those people going after the other gods who had adultery? It came into the fact that God told them to marry within the framework of the Israelite nation. But they did not do that. They married foreign gods or women, and in the process, they guided them.
And when Israel first came into the Promised Land, God told them two things concerning the people. He said, there were these 7 or 8 groups of people, destroy them. Don't leave a single one breathing. These people you can live with, just don't marry into them, because these won't mess you up. The ones you should destroy will. And they did not destroy everyone they were supposed to. If you read Joshua, there's like 8 or 9 tribes sitting around saying, we don't have our land yet. And Joshua's pretty much, why haven't you come and taken it? So their conquest of the Promised Land never was completed because they didn't finish. And by the time we get to Judges, every man did what was right in his own eyes. Which I've heard people say, in some way, it's one of the severest verses in the Bible. So, that's Solomon. So, Rehoboam, his son, Burnett, tell us about those 2 short verses.
Okay, give me a few verses, that's good. Meanwhile, Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king of Judah. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city the Lord had chosen from among the tribes of Israel as a place to honor his name. Rehoboam's mother was Naamah, an Amorite. Now here we go with the women that they shouldn't be. An Amorite woman. During Rehoboam's reign, the people of Judah did what was evil in the Lord's sight, provoking his anger with their sin, for it was even worse than that of their ancestors.
We're going to see verses similar to this for the rest of the night. And I hate to say it, but it's going to happen. And if you think this is bad, it's even worse on down south in Israel's territory, because from the very beginning, they fall away. When Jeroboam, who gets the other 10 tribes, and I say 10 tribes because, okay, so there was 12 tribes born to Israel, there was 12 tribes of Israel. Levi does not count as a tribe, because Levi does not have land inheritance. You're a tribe if you have land inheritance, okay? So Joseph is divided into 2 tribes, technically, Ephraim and Manasseh. And then Benjamin loses their tribalship and is kind of just pulled into Judah. And that's another, that would be until the study of Judges. It's a dark story, that part of it. So that's Rehoboam. Rehoboam gets the kingdom, and what happened? Rehoboam's pretty much, the people say, he shows a bit more mercy than Solomon shows. And Rehoboam says, turns to the older people, that his father, that his father, they say, do what the people ask. He turns to his younger friends, there. And he pretty much convinces everyone to leave. Pretty much talks over, angers people so much that everyone leaves him pretty much, with the exception of Judah. So then Rehoboam is king, and it's not really clear if he does what's right in the eyes of God, but we know that the people in Jerusalem weren't doing what was right. Don, can you tell us about Abijah in 1 Kings 15, 1 through 5?
Abijah began to rule over Judah in the 18th year of Jeroboam's reign in Israel. He reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. His mother was Maacah, the daughter of Absalom. He committed the same sins as his father before him, and he was not faithful to the Lord his God, as his ancestor David had been. But for David's sake, the Lord his God allowed his descendants to continue growing, shining like a lamp. And he gave Abijam a son to rule after him in Jerusalem. For David had done what was pleasing in the Lord's sight, and had obeyed the Lord's commands throughout his life, except in the affair concerning Uriah the Hittite.
Okay, thank you. So Solomon's not really being too faithful. Rehoboam's not really being too faithful. Abijah not really being too faithful. Bob, or Maggie, one of you two, could you look up, read 1 Kings 15, 9 to 11? Gotta go on to Asa.
In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Asa became king over Judah. He reigned 41 years in Jerusalem. His grandmother's name was Maacah, the granddaughter of Abishalom. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did his father David. And he banished the perverted persons in the land and removed all the idols that his father had made. What number?
Oh, you already went further than I asked, but thank you. And then I'm going to jump us over to, so that sounds good. Asa, sounds like Asa's doing pretty good here. However, and there's almost always an however with these kings that start out doing good for the most part. 2 Chronicles 16, 11 through 13. 2 Chronicles. And for those that might be confused, 2 Chronicles is I don't want to say a retelling, but it's a companion book to the Kings, and it focuses even more on the kings of Judah, while 1st and 2nd Kings looks more at both the kings of Judah and the kings of Israel. Is there a question back there, or are you just stretching? We're just stretching? Okay. So, Asa, in verses 11 through 13, we find out that, note that the acts of Asa, first and last, are indeed written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And in the 39th year of his reign, Asa became diseased in his feet, and his malady was severe. Yet in his disease he did not seek the Lord, but the physicians. So Asa rested with his fathers. He died in the 41st year of his reign. So, what we're going to see is that a lot of the kings that start off well, either they end well or they fall apart into a lot of these same the same practices and things that the previous kings did. And some of these kings even later on down the line were assassinated. And we'll get into that later here. But Jehoshaphat, let's see. Terry, could you read 1 Kings 22, 41 to 43?
Okay. Now Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, became king over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he became king, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, and the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the way of Asa his father. He did not turn aside from it, doing right in the sight of the Lord. However, the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense on the high places.
And the high places is where people worship idols, practically. It didn't necessarily have to be high per se, it sounds up on a mountain or anything like that, but that was generally what spot, like an idolatrous altar was referred to as a high place. And Jehoshaphat's a very interesting king because he gets along with Ahab. And Ahab, as it says, was worse than his fathers and did more to provoke God than anyone else in terms of the kings from Israel. Ahab's also the only one to say, also the only one to ask forgiveness to God as well out of all those kings, which keeps him alive for a bit longer. I don't know by much. So we have Jehoshaphat here, who, for the most part, is probably one of the few more positive kings we see out of this lineage here. He's not perfect by any means, but.
Now, why do people say jumping Jehoshaphat?
That's funny. Jumping Jehoshaphat, where'd that come from?
I'm not sure at what point he jumped in his reign. I don't remember seeing it in here at all. Maybe when, you might have jumped, maybe when Ahab said something bad about one of the prophets. Because the prophet was always prophesying bad things that Ahab didn't like about him. But, so then we go over to Joram here. And I'll read to us from 2 Kings 8, 16 through 19. Any questions so far, by the way?
2 Kings 1, 6.
This is 2 Kings 8, 16 through 19. Now, this is one of those kings that has a different name. So depending on your translation, you may see Jehoram, you may see Joram. It's the same person. Now, in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat, having been king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, I guess he chose the same names for the children, began to reign as king of Judah. He was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the house of Israel, just as the house of Ahab had done, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. So, when Rehoboam and Jehoshaphat first became the kings of Judah and Israel respectively, they were told not to fight or anything like that. Like God did not want them warring with each other. And eventually, this is Jehoshaphat and Ahab were friends, and this led Jehoshaphat's son to marrying Ahab's daughter. And Ahab was really big on Baal, as well. Jezebel was big on Baal, but she got Ahab taken to Baal then. And this continues on into Judah. So, Joram is eventually killed by Jehu, who had just happened to kill Jezebel. Or shortly kills Jezebel afterwards. So this is the first time we also see one of the kings of Judah being assassinated. Somebody being regicide. So now at this point there are several kings and a queen, but they're not listed in the genealogy in Matthew. So we won't get into them. They are Azariah /Amaziah, the first of several of them. Athaliah, who has most of her family killed so she can be queen, and then Joash, who starts out pretty well and then ends up just as bad as his grandmother, and is also assassinated. So we go on to Uzziah, the same Uzziah that Isaiah was writing about. So we are now we're past the time of Elijah, we're past the time in terms of Old Testament locations. We're now where the prophets start, where the prophets with their own books, so Isaiah, Jeremiah, Job, all of them, we're at that point where they're starting to write and be alive now. So we're at King Uzziah. Rob, could you read 2 Chronicles 26, 1 through 5?
Chronicles 26, 1 through 5, right?
Correct.
Now all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king of his father Amaziah. He built Elath and restored it to Judah after the king rested with his fathers. Uzziah was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jecoliah of Jerusalem. And he what was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done. He sought God in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding in the visions of God, and as long as he sought the Lord, God made him prosper. Okay. And unfortunately, there's another sad postscript to Uzziah's life. And I'll read I'll read 16 through 23. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction, and this is talking about Uzziah still. For he transgressed against the Lord his God by entering the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of incense. So Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him were 80 priests of the Lord, valiant men. And they withstood King Uzziah and said to him,
"It is not for you, Uzziah, to burn incense to the Lord, but for the priests, the sons of Aaron, who are consecrated to burn incense. Get out of the sanctuary, for you have trespassed. You shall have no honor from the Lord God." Then Uzziah became furious, and he had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was angry with the priests, leprosy broke out on his forehead before the priests in the house of the Lord beside the incense altar. And Azariah, the chief priest, and all the priests looked at him, and there on his forehead he was leprous, so they thrust him out of that place. Indeed, he also agreed to get out because the Lord had struck him. King Uzziah was a leper until the day of his death. He dwelt in an isolated house because he was a leper, for he was cut off from the house of the Lord. Then Jotham, his son, was over the king's house, judging the people of the land. Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, from first to last, the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amos, wrote. So Uzziah rested with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the field of burial which belonged to the kings, for they said, "He is a leper." Then Jotham, his son, reigned in his place. And for some clarification here, all the kings, well, most of the kings seem to be buried around the same place, for the most part. There are some that later on just throw them into paupers' graves or almost ditches or whatever. But for the most part, the kings, at least the ones that were respected, thought how they were all buried around the same place. So when you see these things, now Uzziah was not the first person to try to offer a sacrifice to God. Saul did that himself, and Saul lost the kingdom that day. And you think someone would think they don't, but they don't. And it's like we don't do it too well sometimes either. Any questions so far? I think we're a bit more than halfway through this section, so I will go and tell us now about Jotham in 2 Kings 15, 32 to 38. 2 Kings 15, 32 to 38. In the second year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. However, the high places were not removed. The people still sacrificed and burned incense in high places. Okay, I think I'm going to put this on there. No, I did not read this. Yeah, we're going to say that again.
So a lot of these kings are good or start out good or try to do good, but the people around them do not.
Yes.
They're always, the people they rule are still sacrificing and doing it. It's almost like they turn their head. They're trying to do good, but they really don't insist on it.
I don't remember which king it is that says that he did what was right in the sight of God, but not with his heart. So there are some kings, it seems that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a king, but I'm not actually believing or following in my heart. And it's like, you're doing all the outward actions you're supposed to do, but inside you're not believing, you have no faith, and you're.
Plus, they still want to please the people, so
Yes.
they don't revolt. So the kings seem to.
And there's a lot of things that the kings, even that kings that are doing what is right inside of God, are not doing. They're not keeping the Passover. They don't even know where the book of the law is. The book of the law is for the most part, because at some point the temple gets closed. And when the king puts a statue in the temple, the land of the temple gets closed, and the idol in the temple, I say not a statue. So eventually the temple becomes a mess inside. So there's a lot of things that the kings aren't even doing.
But you can even excuse that part because, well, maybe they didn't know, or like the priests weren't telling them, like, to celebrate Passover. But they do know there shouldn't be high places to other
Oh, yes.
gods, so.
Yes. Well, when God gives out the things for what a king's supposed to do, they're supposed to keep the feasts. They're supposed to actually write out the law so they know it at some point. They're supposed to write out the law. And there's a bunch of other things they are to do. And starting with Saul, most of that doesn't even happen then, so.
Stephen, this kind of echoes what we were talking about Sunday night, especially when we referenced the thorn in the flesh being back in the Old Testament where God told them to utterly destroy the people of the land, lest they become a thorn in your side. And this shows you what starts out sounding like such a cruel command on the part of God to go in and utterly destroy the people of the land. Now, in retrospect, we see the aftermath of not doing that. They went in and they tried to be friends with the people all around them, and they intermarried, and then the other nations came to infect their own faith. So what God, the prescription God gave them in advance would have saved them so much heartache, but they had a mind of their own.
And at this point, God starts, I think in this part, God, I think in some ways he starts trying to get Judah's attention. Because it says in verse 37, in those days the Lord began to send Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Remaliah against Judah. Now on occasion he might send someone again, someone to, another country or something to Judah and kind of wake them up per se or something, but it starts getting a bit rougher and harder at this point. So this leads us to Ahaz. 2 Kings 16, 1-3. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and he did not do what was right in the sight of the Lord his God, as his father David had done. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel. Indeed, he made his son pass through the fire. In other words, he killed him, according to the abominations of the nations whom the Lord had cast out from before the children of Israel. I'm not sure exactly what completely entails passing through the fire, but I'm sure it involved the child's death.
Some speculate it could have been that he sacrificed him over an offering.
Okay, that sounds like it may be correct. And also verse 4, and he sacrificed and burned incense on the high places, on the hills, and under every green tree. So this guy's out of control. I believe this is, he also pretty much takes everything out of the temple that's in there that he doesn't like. And if anyone's familiar with all the stuff Solomon built and put into the temple, there's a lot of gold. And Rehoboam actually lost some of that gold because he had to pay. On occasion, they pay off some of that must have made they were getting in trouble. And Ahaz pretty much just strips everything and says, here, take it. So this brings us over to Hezekiah. Let's see. Josh, can you read to us 2 Kings 18, 1-3?
Yep. You said 18?
Yeah, 18, 1-3.
Okay. In the 17th, now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hosea, the son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king. He reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father David had done.
And if you read the next 2 or 3 chapters, you will see everything. You'll see all that good Hezekiah did. And yes, his pride gets the best of him in a small way at some point. But God is pleased with Hezekiah. He even gives Hezekiah 15 more years of life when Hezekiah's on his deathbed.
Is that when he asked for the shadow to go backwards?
Yes, because he says it's easy for the shadow to go forward, but impossible for the shadow to go backwards. So Hezekiah, which then leads us to Manasseh. And I will read 2 Kings 21, 1-15. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, according to the abominations of the nations whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel. For he rebuilt the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed. He raised up altars for Baal, and made a wooden image, as Ahab king of Israel had done, and he worshipped all the hosts of heaven and served them. He also built altars in the house of the Lord, at which the Lord had said, "In Jerusalem I will put my name." And he built altars for all the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Lord. Also he made his son pass through the fire, practiced soothsaying, used witchcraft, and consulted spiritists and mediums. He did much evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. He even set a carved image of Asherah that he had made in the house of which the Lord had said to David and to Solomon his son, "In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. And I will not make the feet of Israel wander any more from the land which I gave their fathers, only that they are careful to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them." But they paid no attention, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than the nations whom the Lord had destroyed before the children of Israel. And the Lord spoke by his servant the prophet, saying, "Because Manasseh, king of Judah, has done these abominations, he's acted more wickedly than all the Amorites who were before him and has also made Judah some of his idols. Therefore, thus says the Lord, King of Israel, Behold, I will bring such calamity upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whoever hears of it, both his ears will tingle. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the measuring line of Samaria and the plummet of the house of Ahab. I will wipe Jerusalem as one wipes a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. So I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become victims of plunder to all their enemies. Because they have done evil in my sight and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came out of Egypt, even to this day." God sounds like he's had enough. But he doesn't take away the kingdom immediately. So leads us to Amon, 2 Kings 21:19-22. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Perez of Jotham, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord as his father Manasseh had done. So he walked in all the ways that his father had walked, and he served the idols that his father had served and worshipped them. He forsook the Lord of his fathers and did not walk in the way of the Lord. And then his servants killed him. So this takes us to Josiah. And so 2 Kings 22, 1-2. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Bozkath. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord and walked in all the ways of his father David. He did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left.
All of these kings seem really young when they start out, so obviously they must have had like a captain or something
Yes.
that led them rightly, or
Some listened to the priest. There was one that actually that stayed faithful and listened to a priest until the priest died, and then he stopped. Then he went and did his own thing. A lot of these were very young. They did have people around them. With Joash, Josiah. Josiah is important because Josiah is the king when they clean up the temple and they find the book of the law. And Josiah is devastated at what everything has become, and he repents. However, it tells us in chapter 23, verse 26-27. Nevertheless, the Lord did not turn from the fierceness of his great wrath, with which his anger was aroused against Judah, because of all the provocations with which Manasseh had provoked him. And the Lord said, I will also remove Judah from my sight, as I have removed Israel, and will cast off the city Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there. So, though Josiah is faithful, he brings back the Passover, he brings back worship of the temple, he goes through Jerusalem and starting to cast out anything related to an idol. And we're almost done. Sorry, that was going a bit long. That is still not enough. God has determined that Judah must go. And what we're seeing through all these kings, and we got one more to look at, is that there is no king, that there is no one person that could lead and keep a nation faithful, that could save them. And that's why it took Jesus to be a king of a different, not of a physical realm, but spiritually. So, the last king we have here, Judah, in the lineage, Jeconiah/Jehoiakim/Dave. At this point, there's a lot of the same name and sort of the same person. It's really confusing at this point. But to make it fast, 2 Kings 23, 31 to 32. Wait, do I have the right? Yeah, okay. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. It's not a lot of time. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord according to all that his fathers had done. Now Pharaoh Necho put him in prison at Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he might not reign in Jerusalem, and he imposed on the land a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Then Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim the son of Josiah king in place of his father Josiah, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. And Pharaoh took Jehoahaz and went to Egypt, and he died there. So Jehoiakim is now the king, and he's going to remain the king until Nebuchadnezzar comes in and says, "You are going with me to Babylon." After that, no more king in Judah, or Jerusalem, and I believe that's the last king that they ever had. Because when they returned 70 years later, they're still under Babylon. The king's like, you can go repair the temple, you can go, replace the walls, but you're still under us. And Babylon is eventually taken over by Persia, who's eventually taken over by, was it Greece then, or am I thinking of someone? Syria, and then Greece, and then I think maybe Greece, and then Rome takes over. And we know Rome takes over practically all of Europe and part of Asia at the time.
So when God said you shouldn't have kings, maybe you kind of what he was talking about?
Yes. So, back to Matthew. I hope we can see now the necessity of a pure, true king that was blameless and was faithful and did not serve idols. So Matthew chapter 12, Matthew 1, 12 through 16. And after they were brought to Babylon, Jeconiah/Jehoiakim begot Shealtiel, and Shealtiel begot Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel begot Abiad, and Abiad begot Eliakim, and Eliakim begot Azor. Azor begot Zadok, Zadok begot Achim, and Achim begot Eliad. Eliad begot Eleazar, Eleazar begot Mathan, Mathan begot Jacob. And Jacob begot the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who was called Christ. And for information on Shealtiel and Zerubbabel, you can look up Ezra chapter 3. They are mentioned there. So they returned to Jerusalem, those two died. Okay, so all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David until the captivity in Babylon are 14 generations. And from the captivity in Babylon to the Christ are how many generations? 14. And that equals 36. Okay. I'm not sure if I don't know if there's a significant thing about being 36, but I think the symmetry of 14, 14, and 14 is probably 46, 42. Yeah. Yes. Hopefully the next person up here will be more proficient in math. Okay. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with a child of the Holy Spirit. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not wanting to make her a public example, was minded to put her away secretly. So Joseph is going to Mary, and she's pregnant. It is not Joseph's child. Now Joseph, according to the law, can't get rid of her and put her away. Now, it says he's planning to put her away secretly, so it seems he doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. Or at least, publicly dishonor her or anything. In Deuteronomy 24:1, the revisiting of the law, as Deuteronomy is, states, "When a man takes a wife and marries her, and it happens that she finds no favor in his eyes because he has found some uncleanness in her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce, puts it in her hand, and sends her out of his house," etc. Then it goes on about who she can come out and marry and things like that, I think. So Joseph's planning on putting Mary away, saying, putting her away, saying, I'm going to distance myself from you, the engagement's off. We're no longer engaged on Facebook or anything like that, you're just out here. They didn't have social media at the time, probably for the best. But while he thought about these things, which is shows us something about the temperament of Joseph, that he's thoughtful in some ways and not just immediately he's thoughtful about Jason's purpose, even not going to just take her to the priest saying she's unclean, stone her. But while he thought about these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David. And that is significant, because that's almost as good as saying Joseph, son of Abraham. Joseph, son of David. Do not be afraid to take to you Mary, your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. We see the phrase term, do not be afraid, fear not, all throughout the Bible. And this is one of those cases where it's extremely important. And she will bring forth a son for you. She will bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. So all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is translated, God with us. And you can look that up in Isaiah 7:14. This is the first of a lot of prophecies that Matthew quotes in here, which Jesus fulfills. Then Joseph, being aroused from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord commanded him, and took to him his wife, and did not know her till she had brought forth her firstborn son Jesus, her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. So, we're seeing a carpenter do what all these kings would not do, and that is step out in faith and believe. Any questions, comments?
Do you think Joseph was sort of tested like Abraham?
I certainly think he was.
Yeah.
He was tested, and unlike Abraham, he kept his cool and didn't do anything. I'm trying to think what a decent word to use here. Rash. Thank you. Joseph did not do anything rash. He almost did something rash, but then he chose not to think about better and didn't. Because he was a being.
But the presence of God appearing to him in a dream helped him to realize what he must do.
Do not be afraid. It's okay. Marry her. This is okay in my sight. Any other questions or comments?
Are we late?
Are we late?
Okay. Back to the beginning of the genealogy. No. Anywhere on board?
Yeah, I need to cover all the tennis, so there's so many sneak at.
Recap.
Oh.
Yeah,
So I don't think I go to the orthopedic center.
But he's home with his leg up.
really?
She should be here.
Yeah, you want to see me get in and out of this chair?
Yes. That'd be funny.
You should have seen him getting in the house.
So he's going to have surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given.
You left him alone with them? You trust he won't get up and,
I had to come get the truck.
I was gonna say, you trust he won't, get up and do something?
Oh, he's not going to.
We've already changed now, he's already gone potty, he's sitting there comfortable. I think we're all okay. He was in hospital closes. Poor Gene.
Now, I'll warn you guys, you did a great job tonight, but if Keith's here, a quarter after, it's your own.
I always thought we had an hour.
Quarter after.
So that is chapter order of math.
I want to say this much, Stephen. You did a good job and a lot of study and preparation in this genealogy, and I appreciate it.
The genealogy might sound boring, but it is important.
It is boring, but you made it interesting.
Hello, what? Church?
So, Rob. Anyways, let's talk. Do you listen to something?
What's that?
Do you listen to something? Thank you. Can find something to call someone right. Who has chapter 2 next week? Okay. Christmas tree.
Okay, please turn to song number 162. 162. All hail the power of Jesus' name. We will sing all 4 verses. Do we know this song here? Okay, just making sure. Okay. All hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate fall. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all. He chosen seed of Israel's race, he ransomed from the fall. Hail him who saves you by his grace and crown him Lord of all. Hail him who saves you by his grace and crown him Lord of all. Let every kindred, every tribe on this terrestrial ball, to him all majesty ascribe and crown him Lord of all. To him all majesty ascribe and crown him Lord of all. Oh, that with yonder sacred throng we at his feet may fall, we'll join the everlasting song and praise him, Lord of all. We'll join the everlasting song and praise him, Lord of all. Did you have to accept for a closing prayer? Josh, do you want a closing prayer for us?
Yep. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you for this beautiful night you've given to us to come here and learn more about you. Father, we want to thank you for Stephen's lesson and help us to take it and apply it to our everyday lives. Father, you're so great, you're so wonderful. You do so much for us. You give us our health, our food, our clothing, our homes. Father, we're so thankful for everything that you do for us. Father, please help us to teach one another the gospel. Please help us to teach others the gospel as we go out into the world and try and do your will. Father, we want to pray for the people in the military and the armed forces. Please help them to return home safely and be safe as they fight a grueling war over there, Father. Father, we also want to pray for the sick and afflicted. Help them to return back normal and push their health and give them comfort and peace in their last days. Father, you're so great, you're so wonderful.